comic that's going to come up on stage, if he was the guy who knocked on my door as a missionary, swear to God, I would not be using the Lord's name in vain right now. Give it up for Drew Simon, everyone. Give it up for Drew Simon. Let's hear it.
What's up? Oh man, I'm used to going to comedy open mics because I like watching people fail at their hopes and dreams. So it was weird, like, I saw Christian go up and he didn't eat a bag of dicks. That was fun. He did good. There's one thing I'm going to make fun of, though. I liked when Christian had the bag and he's like, "Why is it so big?" And I'm like, he's just repeating the one thing he's never heard a woman say. It's like, over and over again. This is going to be fun. I met a vet recently. By vet, I mean the kind that helps animals, not the homeless kind. It's okay. We got to talking, and he told me, he's like, "Hey man, 80% of what I do is putting down sick animals." So I just scooched away from that guy, because I just found out being a vet is methadone for serial killers. Like, do you think these serial killer vets just drive to work every day with a smile on their face, like, "I'm gonna kill some family friends so I don't have to kill a hooker again"? Dude, and if you think about it, at least 5% of what a vet is doing is neutering dogs. So like 85% of what a vet is doing is pretty terrible if it was a doctor doing it to a person. Like, could you imagine if that's how it worked? Like, you're like, "Hey kids, you know how grandma is like really old and can't walk and is deaf and she shits her pants? We're gonna take her to the doctor where she will die from lethal injection because it's the humane thing to do." Or like if we did that, you know, with the neutering, you're like, "Hey kids, you know how Uncle Mike humps everyone? We're gonna take him to the doctor, and he's gonna come back as Aunt Michelle." No, I think nature found a way to make a vet for humans. I think COVID-19, that's the vet for humans. You know, just killing all the old ones. Speaking of dogs, you guys know they made a movie of like Clifford the Big Red Dog, like a live action? Yeah, I was bummed out because I thought it would be a realistic version, you know, how it would really be if there was a dog that big. Like he would just come to the school and eat all the children. Like, and then the Japanese would summon Godzilla to fight him. Never happened. Fun. Have you guys ever Googled something and then Google bullies you for the question that you asked? A couple years ago, I was getting these red lines on my inner thighs, so I Googled, "Why do I have red lines on my inner thighs?" I thought I was gonna die, and Google's like, "Don't worry, you're not gonna die, you're just fat, those are stretch marks." And ever since then, I get weight loss ads on YouTube, which I feel attacked. I got married recently. Don't applaud, I live here now because of that choice. Yeah, it's cool. I can't believe someone saw this and was like, "That's the one." Like, I think when my wife saw this, she's like, "That will do. That will keep this franchise going for another year." It's like when the Dolphins signed Fitzpatrick. That's a deep football reference there, but. No, one thing I don't like being married is that my wife's trying to make me eat healthy. She tries to get me to eat vegetables, which she has just learned that I know nothing about vegetables. Like, she'll send me to the store and I come back with the wrong ones. Like, she sends me to get lettuce and I come back with cabbage. Or she sends me to get, like, I don't know, cilantro and I come back with other green shit. And she's like, "You're 28 years old, how do you not know the difference between all the vegetables?" And I'm like, this is a new food group to me. Like, I hate vegetables so much that I even unplugged my grandpa. It's okay, he was Jewish. We did it for Jesus. No, I'm just kidding. My grandpa was definitely a Nazi. Jokes, all jokes. My grandpa is indeed dead, though. Before he died, he had to wear those diapers that old people wear. Have you guys seen those? Depends. Have you seen those in the grocery store? It's weird. On the box, they have like a young, jacked 20-some-year-old wearing these diapers. They don't have an old person modeling them. Like, I don't know what kind of advertising they're trying to do. Like, hey, sometimes after CrossFit, I shit my pants. Like, no, advertising's fun. My wife's going to school for advertising right now, and one thing I really like to do is to give my wife ideas for ads. The other day we were watching the news, and there's a story on the news. This guy backed out of his driveway in a hurry and backed over his 10-year-old son. Yes, tragic. And my wife was like, oh my gosh, that is the saddest story ever. That guy's going to live with that for the rest of his life. And I was like, or that's a really good ad for a backup camera. I have one problem I have with my wife other than the vegetables is that between the months of November to January, she has the Hallmark channel on a loop, playing those Christmas specials. Have you guys seen those? I have a question. Do you think Hallmark ever turns people down in auditions for being too good at acting? Like, you think the director's like, sorry, we have this thing where we make really shitty movies for white women who love Christmas, and it's just too realistic. Any of you guys have that family member that whenever they talk, you just want to slap them in the face, right? I think everyone has that one family member. In my family, that's my youngest brother. When I was 16 years old in high school, I took this girl on a date, and my brother was 10. Brought this girl back to my house to hang out. My brother looked at her, looked back at me, and said, I thought you said you were taking out a cute girl tonight. He was honest too, which was like the hurtful thing. And he would just say and do socially unacceptable things all the time. So me and my other brother, we thought we could fix our youngest brother. So every time he would do something socially unacceptable, we would just beat the shit out of him. And we did that like every day for 10 years. And we stopped the moment he was diagnosed with autism. Yeah. So my brother's autistic. I don't get it though. He can't paint for shit. He's a real bad painter. Growing up with a brother who had autism was pretty fun because he would just say the wildest things. Like, I'm from Washington State, so we're real big Seahawks fans. We were watching the Seahawks play, and they were losing, and I turned to my dad, and I was like, Dad, oh no, the Seahawks are losing, we're gonna lose. And my dad said, it's not over till the fat lady sings. And my brother looked at my aunt and was like, please don't sing! And like, you think you like grow out of it as an adult, but no, like it's still there. My brother's 21 now. My dad and I were having a serious discussion recently. And the term political correctness came up. My brother made a face that he was confused. So I didn't know if he knew what political correctness meant. So I said, hey buddy, do you know what political correctness is? He's like, yeah, I know what political correctness is. That's when you stop yourself from calling someone a faggot. I mean, he's not wrong. That's just not how I describe it, but yeah. One time I did those jokes after this. I did these jokes at a show in Washington State, and this guy came up to me after the show. This autistic guy came up to me after the show. He was like, "Hey, you can't do those jokes about your autistic brother, even though he's your brother. You can't do those jokes because you're not autistic, and you not being autistic." Doing jokes on stage about autism, that's like a white guy going on stage and saying the N-word. No, it's not. I'll tell you why. Whenever I do autistic jokes, there's no autistic people waiting to kick the shit out of me after the show. just lots of awkward conversations. That's all you get. I have this good friend who's Catholic. This Catholic friend of mine, he always tells me he's Catholic, but he's not super Catholic, which if you ever hear that, that's a code for an alcoholic who goes to Mass once a year, just so you know. And he confided in me and he told me that he gave a blowjob for the first time when he was 5. So I think it's fair to say he's super Catholic. Yeah. Moral of that story is Catholic children are sluts. Fun. No, speaking of poor children, I don't understand TikTok. Right? TikTok's the first social media that came out that makes me feel like an old man. Because whenever anyone shows me a TikTok video, I'm like, yeah, that's an underage child shaking their ass. Like, I think everyone that's on TikTok is either a middle schooler, a high schooler, a middle-aged woman, or a pedophile. And if some dude shows you a video and is like, hey, check out this cool TikTok, you should keep an eye out for that guy. It's not a joke, that's just a PSA announcement. So I met this audiologist recently, a hearing aid doctor. He sets people up with hearing aids. He told me that one pair of hearing aids is $6,000. And a lot of people will make payment arrangements to pay off their hearing aids, like a car payment. And I said, hey man, what do you do if they can't make their payments? And he looked at me and said, we repossess them. Which, can we all agree that being the repo man for a hearing aid doctor would be a super fun job? You know, you're just wandering around Costco with a giant net, hunting elderly people. And then you catch one, and they say something stupid like, I need these to talk to my grandchildren. And you're like, not anymore you don't. You should have thought about that before you were old and poor. That'd be fun. I can tell you what wouldn't be a fun job. Any job that's in the state of Louisiana. Have you been there? That place sucks. I did a summer sales job there. Never do that again. I like how Louisiana has this thing going on where they get devastated by a hurricane every 15 years. That's fun. That happened this last summer. There was a story about when the hurricane hit Louisiana. This guy's house flooded, and the day after his house flooded, an alligator swam into his house and ate him in front of his wife. And you might be looking at me right now like, Drew, what's funny about that story? We're at a comedy show. And all I have to say is, what's not funny about that story? When I read that story, I laughed my nipples off, okay? Because when I read that story, all I could imagine was God playing Sims with his God friends, right? And he turns to his friends like, hey, I just flooded this guy's house. Should I have a dinosaur eat him? And then his friend's like, make sure it happens in front of his wife. That would be fun. Neat. Do you guys ever have really bad thoughts? Like, we're gonna go into some dark territory here. Do you have really bad thoughts? Like, thoughts you're like, this shouldn't escape my head. Like, I might go to jail if someone knows I think this. I'm gonna share one of those thoughts with you guys. So whenever there's a school shooting, stay with me. And you read in the news that the shooter only shot 1 or 2 people, I can't help but think, I could beat that score. I could beat that score easily. It's like kids these days aren't even training. I could beat that score with a sword, okay? If I lost weight, I could get 10 people with a sword, okay? What I'm saying is I would be a really good school sworder. What I like about that joke is I wrote that joke in 2018, the same time I wrote a joke about the 2018 World Cup, but I can't do the joke about the 2018 World Cup anymore because it's no longer timely. It's a good thing about school shooting jokes. They're always fresh. No, school shooting jokes are a lot like the kids in school shootings. They don't get old. Okay, I got one more, okay? One more. For me, school shootings are a lot like hockey. I get really excited when I see a non-white guy doing it. Well, now that I've lost half the room with school shootings, how about we talk about immigration, okay? Yeah, you guys remember a few years ago when Trump said all the immigrants coming here were rapists? That was pretty wild. I wish I could do Trump's voice, but he was like, they're not sending us their best and their brightest. That's my Trump voice. They're sending us rapists and murderers. Which, when he said that, I knew he was being kind of dumb, because anyone who is coming here and immigrating to the U.S. is smarter than anyone staying in Nicaragua. Okay? Have you been there? It's a terrible place. And have you ever met anyone who's like, I'm not against immigration, I'm just against illegal immigration? Which is kind of a weird thing to say, because you think once an immigrant gets the government's permission to be here, they're automatically going to wear khakis and vote Republican. That's not how that works. But one thing I noticed, the people who are against immigration, they really like Chick-fil-A. And I'm going to say something really controversial, okay? Chick-fil-A isn't that good. I go to Chick-fil-A because I know every time I take a bite out of one of their sandwiches, a gay kid gets hit in the face with the Bible. That's why I go. I like what they stand for, okay? Values. Recently, my wife and I, we went to Seattle, and we stayed at this hotel in Seattle. Have you seen these signs at the elevators? There was a sign that said, in case of fire, use stairs. And below that, there was a map showing you where the stairs were. If you touch the sign was written in Braille. You know what's not written in Braille? Directions to the stairs. You guys think that's why there were no blind 9/11 survivors? Like, just couldn't find the stairs? I'm going to double down here. I really hope that all the blind people who died in 9/11 are just roasting all the normal people who died in 9/11. They're like, you could see and still died? Pathetic. Fun. Have you guys ever been to the grocery store, and as you're checking out on the pin pad, it asks if you want to donate to starving children? That's annoying, right? Like, ask if you want to donate $2. I don't think these grocery stores are serious about getting donations, because there's not enough shame involved in clicking no. So I have an idea for getting donations, okay? I say we take a starving child and put one at the end of each checkout line. And if you don't want to donate, you have to walk up to the child and take food out of their mouth. I might be a hero. I'm pretty sure there's a bunch in cages at the border that we can use for this, okay? My wife and I, we really want to have kids, but we know we're not quite ready to have kids. We were talking about this the other day, and I was like, well, we could adopt one. My wife was like, no, we're not ready to have kids. I was like, yeah, that's why we adopt one. The stakes are lower. It's a used kid, right? Like, adopted children are like the thrift store version of real children, okay? And my wife really didn't like that joke because she was an orphan. But it's kind of true because she was adopted twice, so I like how I just got one laugh from that. No, it's okay. She married me now. She's happy. Okay. Well, I'm going to close with one joke here. You guys remember back in August when we pulled all the troops out of Afghanistan? Okay, I was watching the news, and there was this guy, this Taliban fighter, shooting rocket launchers at helicopters that were evacuating. And honestly, I had no opinion on whether we should stay or leave in Afghanistan. I just really hope that all the guys who are shooting rockets at helicopters are at least yelling Kobe before they take their shots. All right, that's my time. Thank you very much.